Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're having a fabulous day. Welcome back to our weekly Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is the Louis Vuitton Neverfull MM in the Demi Azur. All right, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? All right, first question comes from Nisha P, Cindy Arrington, and Emily E. They all had similar questions. Any thoughts on the Louis Vuitton Pont Neuf shoulder bag? Would you buy it? If so or not, how come? All right, so before I get any further, let me insert a picture of one of Louis Vuitton's newest bag, the Pont Neuf, right now. This bag comes in at $3,900 here in the States. It's available in a variety of different colors, and it does feature the smooth cowhide leather. It also has an adjustable strap, so that way you can end up using it crossbody or on your shoulder, and it also has compartments, so that way you have a little bit more organization. To me, this looks like another dressed up version of the Pochette Métis, and I'm not trying to take anything away from it by any means whatsoever. You guys know how I feel about the Pochette Métis, but with this one, I think that the smooth cowhide leather looks absolutely incredible, but at the same time, I'm not for it and I'm not against it. I'm kind of like, we've seen something similar to this. There are already other bags that the fashion house has that look very similar, that have the same type of silhouette. They might not have the same type of material, and they might have a little bit of a difference when it comes to details, but I feel like we've already seen it, you know? So personally, it is not for me. It is not a bag that I see adding to my collection, you know? And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from it, because as we have noticed, this bag has started to create quite a buzz on social media. We've started to see it, you know, on celebrities and on influencers. So I feel like this is going to be going along the same lines as the multi-pochette last year, you know, and it's just going to add to the, you know, to the frenzy. I mean, those are just my 2 cents. I could be wrong, who knows? But for me personally, I feel like we've already seen it. We've already seen this silhouette so many times, and for it to create the buzz that it's creating on something that's already been done, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of fishy, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's necessarily the same as the multi-pochette. I know some people hate the multi-pochette, and I'm not a fan of using it together. I'd rather use the items separately, but it wasn't something that you really saw, you know, with a lot of other fashion houses. It was something different, and then other fashion houses started to, you know, introduce their pieces that are similar to the multi-pochette. Whereas with this one, I feel like, as I said previously, we've seen it. We've seen a silhouette like this. It's like, I want something different. And for that kind of buzz, I definitely want something that's just going to just wow me. But, you know, that's just the way that I see it. I know some people absolutely love this bag, and I think that's wonderful, you know, and if this bag speaks to you, by all means, go for it. I get it. Louis Vuitton is trying to put the focus more on their leather lines versus canvas. I completely understand that. But with this one, I don't know. I just feel like it's, I don't know. I'm kind of like, it's all right. It's not bad. It has, you know, great features, but it doesn't have that wow factor for me. But I would love to know, how do you guys feel about this bag? Are you a fan of it? Are you not a fan? Is this something that you're going to be adding to your collection? Whatever the case may be, let us know in the comment section down below. Next question from Luis Paulo Cortez. Hopefully I said that correctly. Do you think that anytime soon, by that I mean the next few years or even decades, customers will get tired of Hermes's game to get a Birkin or a Kelly? Until when do you think that their strategy will remain? All right, so I personally think that their strategy will remain the same for forever. I don't see it changing within the next few years or within the next couple of decades by any means whatsoever. When do I think that customers will get tired of the game? I think that 100% comes down to personal preference and how that person feels about these items. Because if you have someone like myself, that I'm not fond of it, you also have others who don't mind it. You have others that don't see it as a problem and actually prefer it. So it really comes down to how that person ends up viewing that item and whether or not they want to pursue it or whether or not they rather end up taking a step back from either of those two pieces from the boutique. And, you know, I've said it before, I feel like if you have the type of money to get these handbags, I think you should be able to get it, because we're not talking about a stick of bubble gum, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if someone has the funds to do it, just let them buy the bag. But of course they don't end up seeing it that way. Even though I'm not a fan of how it goes down on how you can end up getting either of these two bags, I do have to acknowledge the fact that Hermes has has perfected their marketing strategy when it comes to the Birkin or the Kelly. So with that price point, with that quality, by them limiting, how many they end up releasing through these boutiques has made them ridiculously successful for many, many years. Because in some cases, the more readily available you make something, the less desirable it is. So for them, being able to maintain that exclusivity and being able to maintain that interest and being able to maintain that frenzy, if you will, when it comes to acquiring a Birkin or a Kelly has worked out in their favor thus far. So that's why I don't think it's going to go anywhere within the next couple of years or the next couple of decades. But the price point that these bags have, quality comes along with it as well. And it's funny because even though we have been talking about, price increases from all of these other fashion houses within the last couple of weeks, some of them really want to rival, some of them really want to be on the same page as Hermes, but at the same time, you don't hear about quality control issues when it comes to the Birkin or when it comes to the Kelly as you do with other fashion houses, but as I've said before, both of these bags, I think that they're beautiful. Personally, they are not for me, but I do have to acknowledge, what Hermes is doing and how crazy successful that has made them throughout the years. I know that someone can argue, well, you can just end up going on the pre-loved market to get the same bag. You're right. And on the pre-loved market, you can get some fabulous deals. You can get them for a lot less than you would get them at the boutique. Other times it'll be more expensive, either because it's a limited color or because it's a highly sought after color or what have you. But at the same time, I feel like Hermes is going to do what Hermes is going to do, regardless of what happens to the pre-loved market. But I think that it might come down to also the rush that someone might feel, excuse me, when it comes to acquiring either of these two pieces. I know that I've talked about it before, whether it's a Chanel piece, a Louis Vuitton piece, or what have you. Sometimes half the fun is trying to chase that item down and be able to add it to your collection. I'm not saying that you don't enjoy the bag by any means whatsoever, but sometimes that chase just really ends up fueling your fire and makes you appreciate that item that much more when you do end up acquiring it. So I completely get both sides, You know how I feel, but I can definitely understand how someone would feel about the game that Hermes plays when it comes to acquiring either of these two bags. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that it's going to go away within the next couple of years, within the next few decades, or do you think that it's going to stay the same? Let us know in the comment section down below. But fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Ali C. Would love to know your thoughts on the Saint Laurent LouLou puffer bag, especially the black on black in the small size. Love the black hardware and how edgy it is, but not 100% sure about the puffiness. What are your thoughts? All right, so before I get any further, let me insert a picture of the Saint Laurent LouLou puffer bag in the small size right now. The LouLou puffer bag in the small size comes in at $19.50 here in the States, and I am a huge fan of black and black pieces. I think they are absolutely stunning, regardless of the fashion house. I mean, I just think it looks so great, and you're right, it's very edgy, so I'm a huge, huge fan of that. But when it comes to this bag, I know that so many people have raved about it, and there are many aspects of it that I can appreciate. I've heard people talk about how comfortable it is, the fact that it doesn't end up digging into your shoulder or into your skin, so I think that's great. It is very, very spacious. It's also very versatile because you can end up using it as a crossbody bag or on your shoulders, so I think that's great. But even though I can appreciate those aspects, for me personally, I'm not too fond of the puffiness either. It's not something that I have ever really gravitated towards, regardless of the brand either. I just feel like the puffiness, it might be a little too puffy. Even though I can appreciate a good quilt, I feel like it's a little too puffy and it might cause it to age. It might not age as well as I would hope. I think because it does have that excess material and it might just kind of end up deflating as time goes by, or the more and more that you use it. That's just the way that I see it. I feel that way about a few other fashion houses that have the same type of quilting. So I'm personally not a big fan. However, if this bag speaks to you, if you love it, if you see yourself using it, then I would absolutely say go for it, because that's what's most important. And I would love to hear from you guys. If you do have the LouLou puffer bag, how do you find it? Is there something that you love? Is there something to look out for? Let us know in the comment section down below. I've said it before, the more information, the better, I can appreciate so much of this bag. Personally, it is not for me, but as I said previously, so many people love this bag. They love the comfort of it. They love the ease of it. They love how spacious it is. So, you know, if that's something that you love, then I would absolutely end up going for it. So I don't know if this ends up helping you out, but if you do end up getting the Saint Laurent LouLou puffer bag in the small size with the black on black, major congratulations. Next question from Eileen Formans. Hopefully I said that correctly. I've just started my Louis Vuitton collection, and so far, all of my LV items are made in France. Ordered all of them online this past month. But I have heard that there is a difference between made in France and made in USA LV products. Is the quality that is made in France better? Also, many have said that the items made in France hold their value. Should I start paying attention to this? I typically only look at the quality of the bag or SLG, and if it's all good, then I'm happy. Does this really matter? Thoughts? Well, first and foremost, major congratulations on your goodies. Okay, so is there a quality difference between made in France and made in USA? I personally don't think so, by any means whatsoever. I don't think so. I know some people have said that amongst their Louis Vuitton pieces, they have had to take only their made in France pieces in for repair. And I've heard the same thing for made in USA. So I really think that it's a case by case scenario, but I personally don't think that there is a difference in quality when it comes to it being from made in France, made in US, or made in Italy, or made in Spain, or what have you. Now, as far as made in France pieces holding their value better, so in the past, I did end up selling luxury goods for a little bit, and what I really ended up noticing is that if I had two items that were exactly the same, they had the exact same print. Let's say, for example, I had a clay, and the made in France clay actually had more people interested in it than the made in USA piece. So I don't think that it really matters when it comes to made in France that they end up holding their value better. I just think that more people are interested in it, not that it ends up selling for more, especially if you end up selling it to a consignment shop or to a third party. I have never gotten paid more for something that is made in France, made in Italy, made in Spain, or what have you. Same goes for Chanel, because Chanel has, even though it is a French fashion house, they have a lot of pieces that are made in Spain and a lot of pieces that are made in Italy. And same thing, I've never been paid more because it is from France. I just think that, you know, some people might think the way that I do, that your heart flutters a little bit more when you do end up seeing those three words on a French fashion house. But for me personally, if I see a bag from Louis Vuitton that I absolutely love and it isn't made in France, I'm still going to go for it because I'm crazy about the bag. Just like what you said, if the handbag checks out, or if everything's okay, or the small leather good, if everything's good with it, then I'll end up going for it. And if it does have those three words made in France, then I just view it as a bonus, and it does make me happy, but it doesn't mean that something that is not from France won't make me happy either. You know, so that's just the way that I see it. I know some people might view it differently, but no, I don't think that there is a difference in quality by any means whatsoever. I've had some things from France that I've had to take in for repair. I've had some things from the US. I've had some things from Italy and Spain that I've had to take in for repair, you know? So that's just been my experience. At the end of the day, when it comes to Louis Vuitton, I think that Louis Vuitton is Louis Vuitton, and some pieces just end up holding their resale value better than others. Usually because of popularity or because of the condition, or, you know, if it's a limited edition piece or what have you, versus necessarily it being made in France, made in USA, or any other country. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. What do you think? Do you think that there is a difference when it comes to quality between made in France and made in USA? Do you feel that if you have sold some items, do you feel that you end up getting more money for made in France pieces? Again, let us know in the comment section down below. So fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Amana Carroll. How did you get into luxury goods? You've mentioned your mom and cousins aren't into it, your husband isn't into it, so how did you get into it when the people around you aren't? I'm into luxury goods because it was talked a lot about when I was younger. I recently graduated from college last year, and I'm starting to grow my collection. What advice can you give as far as saving up money to purchase these goods? How long did it take you to grow your collection? Fabulous questions, and major congratulations on graduating from college. That is awesome. All right, so how did I get into luxury goods when the people around me aren't into them? Well, my love for handbags is deep rooted. When I was a kid, I always had some type of handbag with me, same thing as a teenager and of course as an adult. But one of the times that always sticks out in my mind as far as how I came to get into luxury goods was because of a girl at school. So this girl, she had some awesome accessories. And I will never forget the day that she came to school and she had this bag that had LVs all over it. When I saw that bag, my jaw dropped. I stopped dead in my tracks and I was like, oh my gosh, this bag is stunning. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, unfortunately, she wasn't the nicest person, so it's not like I can go up to her and say, hey, I like your bag, you know, tell me more about it. No, that definitely wasn't happening. But I remember thinking, okay, LV bag, keep that in your mind, and I'm gonna do my own research. And that's exactly what I did. So I remember going home that afternoon, and I ended up typing in LV bag. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was gonna come up. And when I hit enter, I put images just in case, you know, I saw the one that she had. When I hit enter, this page came up and it was just Louis Vuitton. It was just like, oh. I was so ridiculously giddy. I was just like, oh my goodness. What is this? So I remember looking at page after page after page of Louis Vuitton bags. And of course, that opened up the door to other fashion houses and this whole other world that I had no idea about, you know, but I was forever grateful that she brought that bag to school, because had it not been for her bringing it to school, I don't know how long it would have been until, you know, I knew more about this world of luxury goods and luxury handbags or what have you. But yeah, it's it was amazing. And the bag that she had was a Speedy. So as you guys have heard me say, I have mad love for Speedies, and I really think it stems from that. But yeah, I will never ever ever forget that day. I will never forget that afternoon and just the way that I ended up feeling about it. Of course, I couldn't afford these bags, and I just remember thinking, okay, LV bag, just save it, and one day I will have this bag. One day I will have this bag. And I had other brands, and then I ended up getting into contemporary brands later on. And then after contemporary brands, I ended up selling the majority of those, like 99% of them. And then I got into luxury goods. So it's kind of like the contemporary brands were a gateway to luxury goods, but I had known about them previously. I just I couldn't afford them. But yeah, it was an awesome afternoon. Now, how long did it take me to grow my collection, and can I give any advice as far as saving up money? It's funny because a lot of people, you know, come to my channel or they go to my IG page and they'll say something like, oh, it must be nice that you have all these bags and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, this didn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? And I have had bags and I've sold bags to pretty much to have the collection that I have. And as far as saving up for these luxury goods, for me personally, I don't really splurge on any other aspect of my life. The only other thing that I splurge on is travel. But besides that, I don't wear expensive clothing. I don't get my nails done. I don't go out for coffee. So like I said, I don't really splurge on anything, and it really comes down to my mad money. And with that mad money, just kind of saving up, sometimes it takes a couple of months, sometimes it might take a couple of years. It really depends on the item or what have you, and the other responsibilities that I have, because those have to be taken care of first before I can even fathom spending a dime on any type of luxury goods. And another thing, I really made a promise to myself that if I don't have the money for it, I won't go for it regardless. That doesn't work because, like I've told you guys previously, it is very easy for me to justify certain things. And from the very beginning, I just thought, I'm not going to go into debt for a handbag. If I don't have the money, I'm not going to get it. And I have stuck to it. And that has really helped me out tremendously when it comes to just being able to stay on track and not get crazy and not get carried away or anything like that. But of course, everybody's going to be different. But I am curious, what about you guys? When did you first get into luxury goods? Let us know in the comment section down below. But fabulous questions, and hopefully I was able to answer them. And the last question from BBC. I've been really cleaning up my eating habits, trying to slim down for my 39th birthday coming up at the end of June. Do you have any helpful tips? You look great, and it seems as though you've been successful with keeping the weight off. Well, first and foremost, happy early birthday. You are far too kind. I have definitely tried my hardest to maintain my weight these last few years. It has been extremely difficult because it is very easy for me to go back to my old eating habits, and it's a slippery slope. It still is. And I mean, this past March, I was stress eating like crazy. Even this past December, I was stress eating like crazy. And what really ends up helping helping me out the most is getting in the right headspace. Because once I get in the right headspace, I feel like everything else just kind of comes along with it, and everything else just kind of comes into place. Now, I am the furthest thing from an expert when it comes to nutrition, and I know that every body is different and different things work for different people. But the things that help me out the most, like I said, is getting in that right headspace and being able to introduce the intense workouts that I was doing previously. Because I do run and I do walk pretty much every single day, but being able to incorporate those again into my lifestyle has really helped out. Not only that, being able to stay away from processed carbs. And that's what I have the hardest time with, because that's what I was saying previously. I end up going right back to that. So being able to stay away from those processed carbs has also made a big difference, or junk food in general, because last year I stopped eating carbs for 30 days. I remember talking about it quite a bit on my channel, and I loved the way that I felt. I was so comfortable. I didn't feel bloated, and my skin had cleared up. So I really liked that. And being able to remind myself of how I felt when I did that also really helps to kind of get me motivated and kind of pump me up. And not obsessing over numbers, because I have a tendency to do that. And I'm extremely hard on myself when it comes to my free days. Free days are what people normally call their cheat days. I prefer to call it a free day. That way it doesn't have a negative spin on it, because I will just obsess. I will just obsess, and I am super, super negative, with myself when it comes to that. And being able to, instead of being negative and thinking, oh, I only lost 3 pounds, I rather look at it, yes, I lost 3 pounds, and celebrating it, because baby steps have always worked out for me. Going balls to the wall and doing something for 30, 60 days and just kind of tiring myself out, I get sick of it and I give up. And baby steps help me to make it more of a long-term thing. And being able to realize that it's not a diet, that also doesn't help for me. Being able to look at it as a lifestyle change also kind of puts me back into that same mentality. But like I said previously, I am by no means an expert, and everybody does different things and whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever keeps you motivated, whatever makes you happy when it comes to the weight loss journey, by all means do that. But more than anything, for me, it's definitely getting in the right headspace and celebrating what I'm able to accomplish instead of what I haven't done. Because I know that little by little, it'll end up forming and it'll start to happen. And definitely try my hardest to stick to it. And if I don't stick to it, if I end up just kind of going back to my old ways for a little bit or for a day, not to be so negative on myself and just say, okay, I did that, let's get back on it. So, I don't know if that ends up helping you out or not. But whatever makes you happy, and definitely, celebrating how far you've come, or just starting the journey, or what have you, I think is definitely the best way to go. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to help. You guys had some awesome questions this week. Now, before I let you go, I went back and forth a million times on whether or not I should film this video. I went back and forth a million times on whether or not I should upload this video. And I am not blind to the incredibly important issues that are going on around us. Quite the opposite. It's something that I am incredibly passionate about, and it's something that I continue to push towards, and that's a change. It's beyond screens, and it's not lip service. It's actions and pushing for that change when no one is looking. You know what I mean? And if you know me, you know where my heart is. I did keep the video lighthearted, but please don't assume that it doesn't mean I don't care or that I don't take these issues seriously. And equality, dignity, and respect for all are not choices, they are human rights. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next one. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.